reason on safety or construction or loading or something where
There can be,
that
yes.
better, you know, if there is a change, you'll have a red line change in there.
Correct.
So go with that, then you're covered.
And sometimes codes are adopted by the international board based on lobbying, based on manufacturers wanting to get more products sold.
Right.
I do agree that a lot of that stuff is safety driven, but at the same time, you know, some of it's also manufacturer driven. And the ICC is no different as far as any organization that's not immune to lobbying.
Okay.
So,
In my office, the building department and the county have been working on this issue. The county, I believe, I don't know if it's passed already. No?
it was tabled, I wasn't available
Okay.
for the meeting.
So theirs is done. I'm working on mirroring their ordinance so that,
Okay.
so that the
Some
building codes and
consistency.
everything will be, yeah. consistent.
Okay.
Well, I just want to thank both of you for taking that initiative because it's been long coming. It's a big issue. And does it help if we bring up, you know, things that we hear from other people, or just like what you had to contribute there? I think does it help for us to?
Sure, yeah, no, every bit of public input helps and causing concern for folks, and we're happy to listen to it. And this, again, you know, my drive is just consistency, so everybody knows what their expectations are from step 1 through step 50, so.
That's great.
I just had questions because I didn't know.
Yeah,
I want to know where I stood.
I'm still working through it myself, I've only been here
I'm
6 months, so.
I'm on 2 overlapping circles here.
Mhm.
Well, that helps a lot of people because I'm sure others had the same very question that you just had, you know.
Yeah, and that's specific just to building codes, so.
Okay.
But we'll hopefully be squared away by summertime here as far as both of them being together, then it won't be a concern.
Great.
Now, we had the same discussion our last meeting, because that was on the agenda, and I thought, what are we gonna do about it? And they explained to me essentially the same thing we've heard tonight. As I've thought about it since then, my take on it is the county commission and the city council need to do that, then we just fall in place with whatever they decide, rather than us trying to figure out what's good and what's bad. Then they would have to go to the county commission anyway.
I believe this was a discussion item just based on the fact that the RPC handles general building, various land use issues.
But the city and county should be coming up with that, so then we'll have better guidance to make a decision here. You know, there
Yeah.
may be some stuff we don't need a variance, or we don't need to do anything because
Right.
that everything's set up.
Yeah, the purpose being to debug any inconsistencies that there are between zoning, usage, and so forth, depending on whether you're city or county. So you know when you've got a piece of land, where you stand on using it. And you don't get hit with something later on to say, oh, you should have been putting in curb, sidewalk, and everywhere else, and sewer line, even though it wasn't required at the time you bought the property.
Well, that's some of the stuff where people come in and go, I'm getting different answers, you know, so if everything's consistent and they know where they're at, are you city,
Yeah,
are you
that's the
county?
point.
Or if you're in a county, but you're within a mile of the city, but it's now, you need to go here, get all your questions answered before you go buy the land and start building on it. You have to go through the process. You gotta go procedure, because you can invest a lot of money and all of a sudden, no, you're,
Yeah, and some of this, honestly, in my opinion, should have been done prior to that interlocal government agreement being
Yeah.
executed,
yeah.
but it is what it is, and
Yeah.
we'll get the pieces put back.
We've been
together.
talking about it, I know, for years and years.
So, yeah, it's been a little bit more complicated than I was
Yeah.
hoping for, so,
I'm glad you guys are working on it.
but we're getting there.
Yeah,
so-
so it's good. I
Yeah.
just think it's great.
I decided a while back to get that in, at least get that into motion as part of an ongoing agenda item that we can keep up on it, so.
You know, if somebody comes to build, they get one step, you know, these are the RC codes, these are the codes, this is, it doesn't matter where you're at. So that'll be a wait, I think, for developers, mostly individual developers most of the time know the process. The individuals, like George said, they might go start building, oh, I didn't know I needed to do this.
Yeah, building codes aren't written for the individual homeowner to
Yeah.
understand and follow, so
Can I say that next time we go to build?
you're welcome.
No, mine's all approved and stamped.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, go by, it's totally stamped and stamped.
I've got plenty of red cards, so, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to, item G here. Approval of minutes from the Regional Planning Commission meeting held on April 20, 2022. And anybody, I can't remember, I didn't see anything that jumped out at me, so.
I make a motion to approve them.
I will second that, great job, Zoe, Jennifer.
Okay, we've got a motion from McKenna to approve, a second from Leah. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we open up to public comments again.
George, can I run real quick? And then I'll let you have your big say.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Ladies first.
Just clarification, kind of a housekeeping point of order thing. When you have your public hearings and everybody gets to ask the questions and vet any, concerns or whatever, then you need to go ahead and close your public hearing before you move on to the next one. Okay, so we had 2 public hearings today, or this evening, and then neither one of them were closed, you just automatically moved in. So, just a cleanup there so far as close your public hearing, and then go on to your next one, and then that's when you make your motion.
Thank you.
Okay, just a little bit of open meeting law stuff.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, on the last item that you just talked about, you have to be specific on what you're gonna talk about. It's too general. You make people like me nervous. So if you wanna talk about setbacks, put down setbacks and what your recommendation's gonna be. Not, oh, it looks nice and it's an old neighborhood. No. On the floodplain, within 2 blocks of the last gentleman that put in a home, Mr. Craycraft, he had to go up 4.5 feet above street crown level. 2 blocks away, people put in a duplex on Ogden. I tried to tell the old building inspector, you're not in compliance. The engineer says, oh, everything changes because we're out of the floodplain. I says, how can that be? Because my brother's at the top of Ogden, he's 3 feet higher. Oh no, it's changed. And now I'm told nothing has changed. That peeves me off. That Craycraft kid put up a 4.5 foot footing. He had to sign a document in regards to curb and gutter. Yet I've asked for a list of those that were sent letters, got nothing. Again, either we have rules or we don't, and the discrimination needs to stop. Mr. Chairman, in previous meetings I've asked for, I've reported that numerous RVs, possibly squatters, were setting up throughout the city. I asked how many were being billed for landfill water or sewer. We're going back to August 2020. I gave that same request to the mayor and to the utility board. Nothing. But of all the people, Old George gets a citation. That isn't gonna work. Is it gonna work? Mr. Chairman, Regional Planning Commission, the County Commission, the Ely City Council to date have not addressed the White Pine County or Ely City Code violations of members of the Planning Commission, the White Pine County Commission, as well as some of the Ely City Council members. Again, they need to comply or resign. Mr. Allworth, everybody else gets a special use permit. He's no better. Mr. Flangus, Mr. Spear, I've given pictures to you folks, given it to the County Commission, given it to the City Council. Again, discrimination needs to stop. Other than that, we don't need a board like this to tell others how to live. And I don't want a citation. I fenced off my property. Mr. Flames has an attractive nuisance. Now they're going after a Native American because he doesn't like the way they cleaned up. This man was on the Planning Commission for years and the chairman. Discrimination needs to stop. Mr. Allworth was concerned about what my property looked at the town and country. I painted it. It took me 30 different attempts just to get a permit to paint. Yet on Campton, just up the street here, nothing. He tells me I need to man up. I don't need to man up. He gets paid. He took an oath. He needs to stop discriminating, including the city. I've got more pictures, I don't know how many times I gotta bring them forward. Told you about that. Mr. Chairman, I've asked, in the past, the city, county, and I'm asking you in regards to a list of parking permits that's required by NDOT, City of Ely, for those parking behind the sidewalk. I was told there's need. I got a piece of property that I can't use. I got a foot drop off a new installation, off my parking lot, onto the sidewalk, doesn't meet
Okay,
ADA. You need to look at that, and I want a resolution.
thank you.
The property's closed for no reason at all.
Do we have any other?
Public comment here, can I ask Grant, or do I need to go up here, or can I, what do I need to do? I was wondering about the floodplain, what, floodplain, I'm just wondering, what do we do with that if, I know they've come up with some new stuff out further east here too, but if you have the floodplain and go to build, can you just build in there and take a risk on your house? Or is there an ordinance or a rule that says you gotta go up 4 or 5 feet and put in a dam or a diversion or something? I just didn't know, I don't know what.
Am I allowed to answer during public comment?
Yeah. As long as
So.
there's not deliberation or anything.
Gotcha, yeah, so anytime you build in the floodplain, what's required is an elevation certificate at the conclusion of your project, and that certifies that you've raised the bottom portion of the residence out of the floodplain. So that's why, as Mr. Chacha stated, some buildings, the footings are a little bit higher than others. It depends on where that floodplain elevation is. So no, that's definitely something that's to be looked at during the plan review stages of construction. And to ensure that we meet compliance. It's a lot more difficult to raise a house up than it is to build it to the correct height.
Right, and if you had that, and you put a stem wall or a crawl space, you could not have a basement in it then?
Correct. It's correct. It's, your living space can be no lower than that floodplain elevation. And they would
Okay.
consider that basement an additional story.
And a crawl space, if you have a crawl space under the house, well, that's not considered a living space.
Correct.
But you could have that in your 4 feet?
Correct.
Okay, I just didn't know. Now, is that because of the floodplain, the FEMA and the rules, or is that an insurance thing too?
I would imagine everything's an insurance thing. But yeah, generally it's a FEMA rule is what we
So
follow.
you could not build without probably a civil engineer to give you, or a surveyor to give you that elevation?
Correct. It's based on adjacent grade, the 2 adjacent grades to the property is.
Okay,
is what
I
that
just wanted to
elevation
know,
is
so if
based
someone asked me, I didn't know what,
So-
I didn't know. Thanks.
Add to that, ask a question. So there's many homes that are obviously built and in the floodplain below that level that have been existing for years. You're talking about new construction then?
Correct.
So no
New
one would get a
construction.
buil- Yeah, it's gonna be required that they meet that elevation, whatever it might be.
Correct.
To build it, okay.
Well, there's also been floodplain adjustments, like out east here where I live, they moved it clear up by Rogers and these others, I mean, where, I built on a hill, I'm good. But it's, they moved it, widened that out a lot more, so people that were gonna build there, now, the new construction will all be,
I've got a floodplain that's uphill from me, and I'm not in a floodplain. So, yeah, I don't understand how they make those rules, I just assume
I know.
somebody smarter than me is doing it.
Well, that's, I looked at the map and I went,
Interesting.
yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay, any more public comment? So, close public comment, and move on to the final item, which is adjournment.
Sure, immediately.
I'll go ahead and second that.
Jesse moves immediately to adjourn, and Leah seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None were
Thank you, I learned a lot tonight. Thank you. People have asked me, and I had no clue.
I kind of had to learn all this stuff too, because I didn't deal with floodplain issues when I was in Salt Lake. So all of the stuff is relatively new to me, so it's taken quite a deep dive and kind of figure out what's what, but I feel like I've figuratively got my head above water. So,
No pun intended.
No kidding.
You'll still remain confused.
Yeah.
It's not gonna guarantee that.
thank you.
Thank you.
It's like we have an agenda item, we were trying to listen on evening
well, that'll be nice if
Yeah.
Yeah,
it actually happens.
yeah, exactly. It's like, drove by yesterday, it was like,
Yes,
just no other, it was rain, storm, thunder,
Yeah,
whatever,
just test
or
it.
hail, so
Or
it's
are
like,
you
I was the
We
same
can
way.
do it all at the same.
wearing masks?
Yeah.
Oh, are you?
I'm just ready to build a bubble around.
Yeah, I went- had
So
one
I
a
could just
couple
wear it in the
Years ago, damage
Well,
my
yeah,
body.
you
There's sometimes I just can't even watch it, so I just have the nose phone. And every once in a while when I'm out just busting myself worn out, and I go watch and turn it on for a couple hours and
Or making it my
I'm good to
Yeah,
go.
embarked upon rather
had that.
momentous,
For a
she
while.
took over, that she bought the old
And I could see them
grade
too.
school out on the.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they brought me into the
Yeah.
That's
desert.
so cool. I drive by that all the
Sleep
time.
apnea
Yeah,
is what I
soon
thought.
enough, I'll have my
They had me
plans with
tested too, I
Jennifer.
had to stay
I've
overnight
just been
and
busy
sleep, and
doing
I did
the
it here,
outside
and I did
stuff,
it over in
like
Utah,
any
UVU.
sunny
You
day
did
that I
it, you
can,
said
you
that.
know?
Right?
I was
Oh, you
shutting
got
down,
so
shutting all my
much.
oxygen, in, so
Yeah.
it's like I later,
Wow.
I'd wake up,
Next
Okay.
on the list is the
and
fence.
it was like, I was
learned
snoring
the
like
deer.
crazy, well, I'd had an infection.
Just killing my plants.
And then
Jennifer, was that you texting me?
Next to
when we were
public
outside?
land.
They used to be
Yes.
so
When I
cute.
got
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachis reporting.